In the previous video, we've created a blog with Vue3 and Tailwindcss, a very simple blog. Now what I propose you is to plug this blog to a database online and fetch all the posts from this database. In order to do so, we are going to use Supabase. First step, I'm going to install Supabase. So I'm going to close this and I'm inside my project, all right? So I'm going to type npm install at supabase/supabase.js. This is the package for JavaScript with Supabase. So let's get install, and normally we will have it in our dependencies, and there we go, it's here. Then in our source folder we need to create a file called supabase.js, all right? And supabase.js will be the client we're gonna use. So I'm going to import from Supabase.js, yes, there we go, create client, all right? Then I'm going to need two major keys. We will need the vite supabase URL, and then we will need the anon key. So here I'm going to type supabase URL, and we are going to import it from meta env vite, and I'm going to call it supabase URL. All right. Then I will do the same in here, and I will take my anon key. So vite supabase anon key. All right. Then we need to export our client. We need to trigger it first, and then to export it. So I'm going to type export const supabase, and it's going to be, of course, create client with a supabase URL first, and then supabase anon key. Now we can use this supabase everywhere in the application, but first we have to create our application online. So when you go to supabase.com, you can then click on sign in. Me, I already got an account, so it will be very fast, or you can click on start your project. So I'm going to click on sign in, all right? And here I'm going to click on new project, and I'm going to choose the organization I have right now. It's going to be a free plan, and there we go. So I'm going to call it Vue Tailwindcss blog, Vue3 Tailwindcss blog. And as a password, I'm going to click on generate a password, and there we go, and I click on create a new project. What I need to do, I'm going to get back. What I need to do first is to create an env file. So here at the base, what I'm going to do is touch.env, and in this env file I'm going to use those both values that we've got here, so the vite supabase URL and the vite anon key. So the URL we need is here in the project configuration, so you got it. I'm going to put here, and the anon key is here, which is public. I'm going to copy and paste it in here. So from now it's supposed to work. We are supposed to be able to call Supabase. But what we're gonna do first is that we are going to launch a project, okay, get back on it, and we are going to empty these articles. So I'm going to get back in here, and remember, I have my articles on my store, which is here. So basically, what we have to do is to create a database to replicate our posts. So here on the left side, you got a table editor where you're going to click, and there is no table yet in our database. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on create a new table, and we are going to call this table posts, okay? I'm going to enable row level security, which is recommended. It's to restrict access to your table, etc., etc. So I'm going to click on it, okay, and I'm going to create in here my post, okay. But you can do that if you don't know SQL, but if you know SQL, you can also go here on the SQL editor. And on the SQL editor, you can use the script to create tables, for instance. All right. So let's look at it. You got some templates. All right. Quick starts, as you see. To-do list, blah, blah, blah. This ID, I want to use a UUID by default, and I want to use the function UUID v4 generate. Here it's going to generate for me a UUID directly every time I'm going to create a new post. All right. So I also got a title in this post, and it's going to be a text, and it could not be null. Okay, this text could not be null. For the description, it's the same. It's going to be a text. Okay, and the date we're going to use created at. All right. So basically, I will have to change in my post, because I'm not going to use date in here. I'm going to use created at. Okay, because the post that I'm going to receive will have this form. So once I've done this, what I need to do is to specify the primary key I'm going to use. And the primary key is the ID. Here, the ID has to be unique. So I gotta put unique ID in here, because a post can only have one ID. What I need to do also is to say that I want to enable the table post. Okay, I want to enable the row security. So row level security. Okay, I don't want that everybody can do anything with the post, changing the title, etc., etc. But I want everybody to be able to fetch the post. So I'm going to create a new policy. And this policy is going to be public post can be seen by everyone. Okay, on posts. And what is it going to do? For select, using true. Okay, here I'm specifying that everybody can fetch the post, because in our blog there will not be anybody in the public can read our post. All right, so this is what we have to do. So let's say that I'm going to rename this query, and I'm going to call it create posts table. I'm going to rename the query, and I think it's fine right now, and I think I can click on run, and there we go. Success, no return. So I can go on table editor. I've got my table, which is here. Okay, so I can click on insert row. All right, and here we see that I can add. Okay, I can add a new post. So I'm going to put that. This is my first post on Supabase. All right. Here we see that I got the date automatically generated and the UUID automatically generated. How crazy is that? This is my first post from Supabase. All right. So I'm going to save. And there we go. My first post is here. Let's create a second one. How to create a post on Supabase. Okay. Please follow Code with Guillaume's YouTube channel in order to learn how to code a blog. Save. All right. And let's create a last one. Supabase is dope. Hey guys, I've found Supabase and it's dope. And yeah, and it's dope. There we go. Supabase will be very happy to watch this video. So now I've got my post table, but which is very cool with Supabase, it's that if you go on the API section, you can see that you have tables and views. And here, if you click on posts, which is the table we just created, you've got all the code generated to update, select, read, remove all your data from posts. So basically here, all the code is already written in JavaScript. So what I can do directly on my application, it's that here I'm going to update. Actually, I'm going to remove all those posts because I want to fetch them. There we go. There is no post. So first, what I'm going to do is, if there is no post, I have to, yes, div if there are no posts, there is no post, sorry. There we go. And if there are posts, there we go. So if there is no post, I get this message. And there we go. If there is no post, I get this message. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fetch the post from Supabase. And in order to do so, I just have to copy paste this piece of code. But here, if I copy paste this and I'm going to import Supabase from, remember we have Supabase client in here, all right? And we will see if it is set up or no. I don't want it by idea. I just want all the posts. So I'm going to console log posts. And I'm going to open my console and see what's happening. Does not provide an exported default name at the end. All right. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Export default Supabase. All right. And look at that. The code I just pasted in display for me all the posts that we got. So we've got our post in here, but what we're gonna do, because it stops here our development process, we are going to create a function which will be asynchronous, okay, that will do the job for us. And in there, I'm going to do the fetch post. So of course, we will have to fetch the posts. All right, so when I update, there we go. Okay, we don't get the post yet, whatever. So now, remember we've got our store. So if you didn't, here I removed my store, but I'm going to export my store this way. Okay, and I'm going to import it from my store, and there we go. So remember, we want to put our post inside the store. So what we can do now is to type store.post is equal to post from here, which come from the data in here. So if error, throw new error, there we go, from error. All right. So, and as you see, it's really fast. What's happening in here is that we've got our posts. And if I click on it, so it said nothing happens yet. So what's happening in here is that if there is no post, we've got this message. We could create a loader for that. Okay, we are not going to do it, but it's exactly the post that we've got. So I'm going to inspect, and we see that there is an error right there. So I'm going to move, check, and there we go. So if I click on a post, we see that we've got an error. It's because on my post that I got in here, now store is an exported like this. And when I click, I'm going to update. Okay, cannot read property of undefined. Okay, stores post. So I'm going to console log my store to see what is it in here. So I get back, I click, and my store posts. Fine, all right. Okay, so here we've got a typical error. If we don't get any post, what we should do is to display an error. Otherwise, we will display our current post, of course. So if there is no post, I can tell no post found. Okay, and then we've got a v-else in there. So basically, I got no post found. And what I can do is to create some kind of the same function that we got here, but with an idea. So basically, I'm going to copy paste this function, and let's say that we arrive directly on this post in here. So I can create this function called post, and here I can pass an ID, and I'm going to put ID in here. There we go. So I'm going to fetch this post. I'm going to select all the columns, okay, all columns, because I want the whole post, of course, and then I want the post equal to ID. All right, so I update, and there we go, we've got our post. But here it's an array, so I'm going to put single, and now I got the object. So what I'm going to do is create a post here, and I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to say if post, if in my store I found this element, I will not fetch the post. If the post is already on my store, I will not fetch it. So basically, found, I can do that. There we go. And found in here, I will stop. Of course, most of the time there will not be this. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to update, and there is my post in here. Two possibilities. I can say now that, okay, data, this post will be equal to data. Okay, nothing happened in here because I didn't put any reactive object. All right, so reactive is not defined. I have to import reactive from view exactly, and it still doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to object.assign, okay, post, and I'm going to assign data, and suddenly I get my post. If I get back in here, I can do the same, and there we go. We see that every time, okay, every time I am fetching the post. And let's say that we want to keep tracks on post. What I can do also is store my post with the existing post. So I'm going to update, and there we go. I got my post in here. There we go, and there we go, etc., etc. You can quickly create a blog with Vue and Tailwind, and to plug it to a Supabase database. Of course, I don't show you everything you can do with that with Supabase. It's an amazing tool, but this is the fastest way. I hope you enjoyed this quick course, and if you didn't, please subscribe to my channel. More content is coming. Thank you very much. Ciao.